So, the various regions of operation of transistors are as shown here. The first one would be the normal active mode, where we maintain forward bias for the base emitter junction, and we maintain reverse bias in the collector emitter junction. This mode is called as a forward active mode. Inverted mode is just opposite of this. Okay, so where we maintain reverse bias for the emitter base junction and forward bias for the collector base junction. We have seen this in coupled diode. Okay, so in inverted mode, collector is doing emission job and emission is doing collector job. Okay, so the functions of emitter and collector are reversed. So that mode is called as the inverted mode. Okay, so normal mode is preferred in most of the amplifiers when we want to use BJT as an amplifier. So then it expects base emitter junction to be forward biased and collector base junction to be reverse biased here. Okay, so here the emitter will inject the charge carriers, collector will collect the charge carriers. That's the difference between normal active mode and inverted mode. The roles of emitter and collector are interchanged between these two modes. And other two modes which are popular in switching operation is the cutoff mode and the saturation mode. Inverted mode we don't use it in any applications, but the modes that are very popular are normal active mode is quite popular in when we want to use BJT as a amplifier. When we want to use BJT as a switch, the cutoff mode and saturation mode is preferred. So, in these modes BJT will work like a switch. Okay, it will work like a switch. It can be used as a switch here. So, cutoff mode means you need to make BJT emitter base junction reverse biased, and collector base junction also will be reverse biased here. You do not expect any current in this mode, cutoff mode, but the total transistor will be an open circuit between the emitter and the collector. So, such a mode is called as cutoff mode. So, emitter base junction reverse biased means there is no base current resulting from this emitter base junction. IB is going to be 0 for the cutoff mode. Once IB is 0, the current resulting from the collector IC is also going to be 0. So, that means between the emitter and collector there is a open circuit. So, that is an cutoff mode. Saturation mode is a mode of heavy conduction. BJT is conducting heavily in the saturation mode because we are maintaining forward bias between base emitter junction and forward biasing even collector base junction also. We forward bias these two things, and therefore the transistor will be current through the transistor will be very high. So, here we have saturation mode. IB is it is not 0 now, it is some positive value we maintain here, and the current resulting from IC is going to be very large. Okay, so, the large collector current flows here. So, this mode is called saturation mode. So, these two modes are used in half switch and on switch. Cutoff mode is nothing but half switch, and saturation mode is nothing but half switch. And even the resistance, if you measure between the collector and the emitter, in the cutoff mode the resistance between the collector emitter is very high. So, we call that state as high impedance state. So, that is the in the cutoff mode, because the resistance between the emitter and collector is going to be very high. So, this exhibits very large resistance between these two terminals here. Whereas in saturation mode, we connect forward bias to the base emitter and collector base junction. So, therefore, the resistance offered by the BJT between the collector and emitter is very small, negligible amount of resistance it offers. So, therefore, the saturation mode transistor can be called as low impedance state, whereas cutoff mode can be called as high impedance state. So, these are things which are important from switching perspective. Last we expand about this, the common emitter configuration transistor, which is connected in common emitter configuration, and this is operated in forward active mode. You can see there is a supply voltage of 40 volts we have assumed here. Okay, so there is a 40 volts, and there is a resistance of 5 kilo ohm. So, now question is, this is going to be the output resistance. You can call this as R out. output resistance here. Uh, so this is nothing but when you look at a device, this may be the resistance of this contact and resistance of this junctions, emitter base and collector base junction. So the resistance of this is shown as R out here. Having a smaller R out is always good, uh, but a typical resistance of the contacts, resistance in the junctions, this is going to be equivalent to the R out. In this case, we are taking a 5 kilo ohm, assuming that all this resistance, if you see cumulative effect, that's going to be equivalent to 5 kilo ohm here now. And now you can calculate what is the current flowing through this loop between the collector and emitter loop. So the maximum current that can flow within this loop is 40 volts divided by 5 kilo ohm. That is the current here. Let me call this as current flowing in the collector. That is the maximum how much it can flow. So the current is 40 volts divided by the resistance, external resistance connected is 5K. That gives us the maximum value as 8 milliampere. That means within this loop the current cannot exceed 8 milliampere. Okay, so this is the maximum current that you can get it from this in the collector emitter loop is 8 milliampere. Okay. So because once the current reaches this 8 milliampere, we say that transistor is in saturation. Okay, so here you are seeing the characteristics of a transistor plotted between VCE taken along x-axis, and collector current is taken along y-axis. Collector current is going to be in milliampere. The current that is flowing here is going to be in milliampere, and this is plotted for different values of base current here. So we have started with the base current a small value, a 0 value. When base current is 0, you can see that what is going to be the voltage at collector. So when we make this base current as 0, okay, so 0 or negative, okay, so or negative base current. So that means negative means we are reverse biasing this emitter base junction. This is emitter junction, and this is going to be the collector junction, AC. Okay, as I told you, this is in the forward active mode. Forward active mode means the JC is JC is reverse biased. Collector junction, emitter junction is forward biased. Okay, so now here for a specific case, when we want to make base current as 0 or negative, we need to maintain a reverse bias across this. You need to change the polarity here with minus and plus. So instead of changing polarity, we apply voltage of this sort here, pulse waveform here. So for the positive pulse, this remains as forward bias, and for negative pulse, this remains as reverse biased. Now you can think of a situation like we are analyzing for negative pulse, negative voltage here. Negative voltage results in negative base current, and so you don't expect any collector current here. Collector current is also going to become 0 when there is no base current, so there is no collector current here. When there is no collector current here, there is no drop across this 5 kilo ohm output resistance here. Okay, so there is no voltage drop across this, and complete 40 volts that we applied here appears across this collector and emitter. Instead of collector and emitter, let us be specific here, it appears at the reverse bias junction between the collector and base here. So that means when the base current is 0 or negative, that can be achieved by reverse biasing emitter junction. So with base current 0 results in collector current also 0. With the collector current 0, there is no current flowing through this loop. So there is no voltage drop across 5 kilo ohm resistance, and this entire 40 volts now appears across the transistor, that is VCE, so which is 40 volts. The same thing you are observing here also, and the characteristics. So with base current 0, that means you are on the x-axis here, where you see base current as 0, this is the base current 0, or that can be achieved by making even negative also. So here you can see that the collector current also becomes 0, collector current also becomes 0, but look at the voltage, between the collector and emitter, this VCE. So VCE is going to be 40 volts. This entire 40 volts appears between collector and emitter. There is large voltage, reverse voltage. So even though 40 volts we have taken along uh, this collector base junction, this entire 40 volts appears across this. Okay, so this is what the scenario you have seen when the BJT is operated in the cutoff mode. This is called cutoff mode. So cutoff mode means this complete transistor. If you look at an ideal device between the collector and emitter, this acts like the open circuit, because of this input is current is 0, the output current also it's going to be 0. So the complete device will be operated in a open in a cutoff mode. So cutoff mode means you can see this is what the high impedance state. So across collector and emitter, so we have an high impedance state. So even this graph also tells you that these are the various regions of operations. We are now specifically we are looking into the cutoff region. So cutoff region means this emitter base junction is reverse biased. So we are in this line. Okay, so this is a line of emitter base junction is reverse biased, and collector base junction is also reverse biased. So this region of operation is nothing but cutoff region. In the cutoff region, we can see that there is no base current, and the collector current also 0. So entire voltage appears across the collector base junction here. Okay, so 40 volts appears across this. Now let us see, as you increase the base current, what is going to happen. So instead of making a base current as 0, now let us apply some base current here. Okay, let's not make it 0. Now you will get sufficient collector current also in this mode. So now let us say this IB is not 0. So this IB base current, now it's not equal to 0. That means we are applying here forward bias. That means now we are analyzing this part of the curve when positive voltage is applied, that is 10 volts, and it is applied here. So now you can see the emitter base junction becomes forward biased. This voltage we are applying with reference to the emitter. Emitter is common between input, this is our input, and output here. Okay, so the collector and emitter acts like an output, and emitter and base acts like an input. So this mode is called as common emitter mode. Now as we increase this, the base current starting with say 0.02 milliampere, you can see that corresponding collector current increased to, in this case it's going to be 2 milliampere. So this is the current for the base current of 0.02 milliampere. And further, if we increase the base current, you can see that as base current increases, according to this relation beta, which is equal to IC by IB. Okay, so we are increasing the base current here. Okay, so the product of this IC now, which will be equal to beta times IB. Okay, so beta is a constant for a given transistor. Example, for this particular base current, you can see that 0.02 2 divided by 0.02. So beta is going to be 100. So beta is going to be 100. Okay, so the corresponding collector current increased by 2 milliampere, and increased in base current to 0.04, collector current has increased to 4 milliampere. Likewise, if we keep increasing this base current by increasing the voltage between the emitter and base, corresponding collector current keeps increasing. And now you can see that the point here is what will happen to the voltage at collector and base as base current keeps increasing. So as base current keeps increasing, you can see the intersection point here at say 0.02 milliampere. So this is going to be the base current here. This line is called as a load line. The end points of load line you can see here. So this is 40 volts here. This is in the cutoff region, which is labeled as C here, and this other end you can see this is a saturation point. These are the swing of this load line gives the extreme ends, like here we have IB0 and maximum VCE, and the collector current also 0, whereas here you can see that collector emitter voltage is 0, but there is a maximum collector current here, which is of 8 milliampere in this case, and base current also it's going to be large. So collector emitter voltage is 0. That means this point, if you take it as a coordinate as a VCE and IC, so this is 40 volts. This IC is going to be 0 here, whereas here voltage is 0, okay, VCE comma IC, and IC is going to be 8 milliampere, okay, 8 milliampere. So this is the point S corresponds to. Okay, now as we said that as you keep increasing this the base current here, corresponding collector emitter voltage keeps decreasing. When base current is 0, collector emitter voltage that is across the transistor is 40 volts, but when the base current is increased, corresponding collector emitter voltage keeps decreases. Instance, you can see 0.02 milliampere, the collector emitter voltage is in between 20 and 40 volts, and as you increase base current to say 0.04, corresponding collector emitter voltage is now 20 volts. And then if you go for 0.06, the intersection point is here, and corresponding collector emitter voltage, you can see it is almost 10 volts. So what the conclusion here is now? Conclusion is, as base current keeps increases, the collector current also increases, but collector emitter voltage decreases, and now complete drop across between the collector and the emitter, the decreased value, now it gets shifted into this external resistance here. Okay. So the drop across this and drop across collector and emitter, that should be equal to 40 volts. Okay. So now here in the earlier case we have seen when the base current was 0, okay, the complete drop was happening across the transistor, 40 volts was happening across the transistor between the collector and base, and this current through the 5 kilo ohm resistor was 0, collector current was 0. Okay. Now as base current keeps increasing, the collector emitter voltage keeps decreasing, and so the remaining voltage, for instance, for base current of say 0.04 milliampere, collector emitter voltage is going to be 20 volts. That means between the collector and emitter there is a drop of 20 volts, remaining 20 volts get drop across this 5 kilo ohm resistance. And further you can see that, let us take condition like the saturation point as 0.08, when base current is 0.08 milliampere, that is the amount of base current we have provided here. Now you can see the collector current, maximum current is flowing through this loop. We said this the current in this loop cannot exceed 8 milliampere. Now for base current of 0.08 milliampere here, when you apply here 0.08 milliampere, that is the base current here, corresponding collector current is going to be 8 milliampere. This is the maximum current that you can expect from this loop. Okay, that means you are at this point, S point, saturation point. Now device is operating completely in the saturation. Now you can see here, now under this condition, now current even further, if you increase the base current here, this line is very difficult, it will not reach, BJT will not reach this. Okay, even if you provide base current as 0.1 milliampere, current in this loop will be limited to 8 milliampere itself, it cannot exceed this. But what about the voltage now, when the current is saturation current 8 milliampere is flowing between in the collector emitter loop. So the voltage here is going to become 0, closely 0. When the collector emitter voltage becomes 0, the complete 40 volts now shifts to the external resistance, which is 5 kilo ohm. Okay. So 8 into 5, which becomes the 40 volts. The 40 volts will drop across the external resistance, and voltage drop across collector and emitter is going to be 0. That means the complete device is allowing the current to flow through this. It is not offering any resistance between the collector emitter, collector base junction and collector emitter, base emitter junction here. The complete current is passed through the transistor here. Okay. So therefore, there is no resistance, and therefore this complete device behaves like a short circuit. So under that condition, 8 milliampere current will be flowing through the in this loop, and you get 40 volts drop across the 5 kilo ohm here. Okay. So that's about this the saturation mode. If you have any questions, you can ask me here, and even you can achieve saturation by fixing even the base current also. For instance, let us say I am fixing base current at say 0.04 milliampere. Now keep increasing the VC collector emitter voltage now by having 0.04 milliampere of base current. You can see that current starts increasing, collector current starts increasing here, and after some time the collector current saturates here. Okay, that means the collector current becomes almost constant. Even though if you increase in the collector emitter voltage, there is no increase in the collector current here. Okay, just think about this. Okay, why the collector current saturates even though we increase in the collector emitter voltage at fixed base current as say 0.04 milliampere here. Okay, so think about that, and the why the collector current is gets saturated when the base current is fixed to 0.04 milliampere, and even though the collector emitter voltage is increased, current will not increase beyond 4 milliampere. So current is maintained constant at 4 milliampere. So beta in this case is going to be again 100. Beta is a constant value. Okay. So these are the various regions of operations we have seen in the last class. This is cutoff region and the saturation region. Normal active mode and inverted mode, they are going to be opposite if you observe here. So here that junction, emitter base junction is forward biased, collector base junction is reverse biased, and in the inverted mode it is totally opposite. So these two modes are opposite. And the cutoff mode, there is no current flow here because collector emitter base junction is reverse biased, collector base junction also it is reverse biased, there is no current here. Whereas in saturation mode, the collector base junction is forward biased, emitter base junction is also forward biased. So that means the saturation current keeps flowing in this in the transistor here. Okay. So with that, let's start discussing about the cutoff mode and saturation mode separately. So far we have discussed about normal active mode and the inverted mode. Inverted mode is just reverse here. You don't get any significant current in the inverted mode. We don't use this mode particularly. Okay, now let us discuss this cutoff mode in more detail. Okay, so just want to take you to the cutoff mode here. Yeah, there are some mathematical aspects are there. That's why I'm showing this handout in the cutoff mode. Let us try to understand what is this cutoff mode. So cutoff mode means you already seen in the region of operations here, transistor region of operations here. Cutoff mode means we have emitter base junction which is reverse biased, collector base junction also it is reverse biased. So the cutoff mode means in this mode. Okay, so in this mode here, let me write it here. We are specifically looking into this mode. So emitter base junction is reverse biased, collector base junction JC, let me call. Sometimes you can call JCB also. Here also you can call JEB, but simplicity here I am showing as JE. JE stands for junction between emitter and base. JC stands for junction between collector and base. So this is also reverse biased. Under this condition, let us discuss various currents flowing in the transistor. Okay. Okay, so let's come back to this. Think this is the JE is reverse biased. That's what I showed you here. So emitter junction is reverse biased, and there is a negative base current here. That's how you can reverse bias the emitter junction. And the operation regime is nothing but it is a cutoff operation here. It is a regime of operation here. Now let us see the excess hole concentration at the edges of the emitter junction and collector base junction. So if you look, observe here the excess hole concentration. Excess hole means it is minority carrier concentration here. So these are the minority carriers. So this is nothing but minority carrier concentration. So we are looking into the specifically minority carrier concentration. Okay, at the edges of this emitter base junction. This is an emitter base junction and a collector base junction. Okay, so that the minority carrier equations we can take up and we can approximate those equations. Now let us see the equations for excess hole concentration, and from PN junction theory we I am rewriting here once again these equations. So delta P is nothing but excess hole concentration at the emitter junction is given by Pn times e to the power of q VEB by kT minus 1. Since both junctions are reverse biased, so this VEB value becomes negative because of reverse bias. So this exponential term will go off. E to the power of any negative value will become very small. So when we remove this exponential term, so delta P will, the approximate equation for this delta P becomes equal to minus Pn. Okay, so this is nothing but the electron concentration. Okay, at the hole concentration in the n region here. Okay, this is what Pn here. Okay, so similarly, if you look at this is at equilibrium, we have reached at equilibrium condition here basically. So similarly, if you analyze delta Pc, this is nothing but excess hole concentration at edge of collector base junction. So this is the collector base junction here, delta Pc. So this delta Pc is now given by, we can use same PN junction theory equation. Pn is equal to delta Pc equals Pn times e to the power of, now you can see it is a q times Vcb. Okay, this is for collector base junction, q Vcb by kT minus 1. Again here this Vcb value is negative for reverse bias. So this exponential term will be negligible. This becomes 0. So now value of this delta Pc becomes equal to minus Pn. So just we want to show that at emitter base junction and collector base junction, the excess hole concentration delta P and delta Pc, they become equal to minus Pn. Alternatively, we can write these equations as delta P by Pn, that is the value equivalent to delta Pc by delta Pc by Pn. So this can be equated to from this equation we get, if you transfer to the left hand side, we get a value of minus 1. Okay, so these are the minority carrier concentration at the edges of emitter base and collector base junction. And P of xn, if you see that the whole concentration as a function of distance xn within the between the emitter base and the collector base junction, that becomes closely to 0. Okay, for the transistor. So the excess hole distribution in the base is approximately constant. We showed that that is equivalent to minus Pn, especially in the cutoff region, and with some slope to the distribution at the edge to account for the reverse saturation current in the junctions. There is, you can see there is small amount of reverse saturation current flows, even though we say that excess hole concentration, the ratio of this is equal to minus 1. And since emitter base junction is reverse biased, collector base junction also reverse biased, we ideally speaking there is no current flowing within the between emitter and collector, but there is some amount of reverse saturation current. For a practical BJT, we can expect some a small amount of reverse saturation current in the junctions. It's like the PN junction under reverse bias. Okay, if you look at this situation, PN junction under reverse bias here. Reverse bias means we connect negative terminal and here n with positive terminal here. Though we say that current is total current flowing from P to N is 0, but there is a small amount of current here which we call as reverse saturation current flows from N to P. Okay, so here we labeled that as IB. Okay, so this is the reverse saturation current in the junction, which is IB, which is given by approximately this equation, minus q A times Pn into Wb by tau P. So this tau P indicates lifetime of holes. Wb is the width of the base region, and area of the cross sectional area of the base region, and Pn is indicates the excess hole concentration in the base region. We have chosen here the P plus NP transistor. For that, this is going to be the base current, okay, under the cutoff region flowing. Okay, this current is going to be very small, of course. Physically, a small reverse saturation current flows from N to P. That's what I showed you for PN junction. But same thing happens in case of BJT also. So current flows from N to P, from base to the emitter. Current flows, and this current is given by this expression here. In each reverse bias junction, the same current you can also expect from the collector to base, as I have shown here, current flowing from base to the emitter. Okay, so in the P plus NP transistor, base is of N type. So this is a small reverse saturation current flows from base to the emitter. Okay, this current flowing should be supplied by the base terminal, of course. Okay, so the current that is flowing, that should be given by the as an input from the base terminal here. And now in this cutoff region of operation, the simplest way to analyze this region is thinking BJT as a in terms of the coupled diode model. Now we are going to apply once again this Ebers-Moll equations, or we will consider coupled diode model, so that we can easily get current equations, terminal currents for the cutoff region here. Okay, recall the Ebers-Moll equations are coupled diode model to write this the equation. So consider once again this coupled diode model. I have taken straight away these equations from the coupled diode model. So you just recall these equations we have showed in the coupled diode model. The emitter current, total emitter current, okay, the is given by IES. This is the reverse saturation current into delta P by Pn minus alpha I. Alpha is nothing but it is a current transfer ratio in the inverted mode times ICS, which is a reverse saturation current into delta Pc by Pn here. So this is the equation we have taken from the coupled diode model here. Okay, coupled diode model is a one it's a trusted model, and it provides explanation for for all the regions of operations. We have shown different regions of operations, right? Like we have a cutoff, inverted mode, normal mode, saturation mode. In order to understand the behavior of a transistor in all these modes of operation, the coupled diode model provides you the solution for that. Okay. Now we are writing these equations here. How do we arrive at these equations? I am just showing you the methodology from the coupled diode model. Though I have shown here the figure here, this shows the excess hole distribution within the base region here. So you can see this is going to be the emitter junction. So this is emitter junction. Just now we showed that delta P is equal to minus Pn, delta Pc is equal to minus Pn. This is for emitter base junction, and this is going to be the collector base junction. Okay, collector base junction. So this is emitter base junction, and we have showed that the excess hole concentration is going to be minus Pn. So this line indicates minus Pn. So this shows excess hole distribution within the base region, and this is a P of xn total value. The whole distribution within the entire P region becomes entire base region becomes 0. This is nothing but whole concentration as a function of distance here. Okay. Now let us see that specifically the currents flowing here. As I told you that a small amount of reverse saturation current results from this base to the emitter, which is flowing like this, and again from collector base to the collector there is a current flowing here. So this can be called as ICS, and this is IES. Okay, now let us find out equations for this in terms of the total current here. So for that I am just looking these equations. So we have considered coupled diode model to this is the equation taken from the coupled diode model, and we have shown that for in the cutoff region delta Pc by Pn is approximately equal to delta PC, this is PE, this is delta PE by Pn approximately equal to delta PC by Pn, that is equal to minus 1. Now, if you apply this uh, approximations of our cutoff region, this is for cutoff region, into the uh, coupled diode model or Ebers-Moll equations, what you get, the terminal emitter current is given by, so here you can substitute delta P by Pn as minus 1 and minus alpha ICS as it is, and delta PC by Pn also as minus 1, and if you simplify you are going to get a terminal current as IE equals minus IES plus alpha I times ICS. So, this is the terminal current flowing in a transistor under the cutoff mode. Okay. Let us look at the representation in alternative form. Again, once again, these are the equations from coupled diode model. Okay. Those who want to see these equations, I will just take you to the coupled diode model. Okay, just go back. So, just look at in the Google Classroom, we have uploaded coupled diode model. This is not the one. Yeah, I will just show you the final equations for this coupled diode model. Not these equations, I think. Yeah, I think it's in slides, I'd like to show you. Yeah, this will this slide, not uploaded in Google Classroom, but you can see the final equations of this. Now you can see these equations. Okay, so the same equation I have rewritten here. I would like to take another yeah, so you can see these equations, same equations I am showing here. Okay, same equations here. IE is equal to IES times delta PE by Pn, you can see here, minus alpha I times ICS into delta PC by Pn. Substitute here delta P by Pn as minus 1, and you can simplify the equation. Alternate equations for emitter current can be written in a different way. Okay, I will show you even that. Okay, this is what the equation you can see here. This is emitter current equations. You can see this equation. One way is this in terms of inverted mode, and in terms of normal mode we have shown this. So, we can just take these equations and substitute wherever you have delta P by Pn as minus 1, even delta Pc by Pn as minus 1, and you arrive at these equations. So, this is an emitter current that is flowing in a transistor under cutoff mode. Okay, I hope you understood this. This is alternate form of emitter current equation we have considered. Similarly, we can also take collector current equation and substitute this cutoff region conditions here. Then you can even arrive collector current in the cutoff mode here. So, to do this, what you need to do is you can take from coupled diode model this equation. So, you can just look at this again. So, this is the collector current equation from the coupled diode model. Just take this equation, substitute delta P by Pn as minus 1, Pc by Pn also as minus 1, and this is another set of equation IC in other form. I have taken both the equations, you can see here. Okay, and substituted here with this condition, and you finally get IC as this equation. You can see this. Okay. So lastly, we have a base current equation which you can obtain for the cutoff region. So this is IE minus IC. We already know IE equation here. Uh, this equation and this equation. You can just substitute here and subtract from IC from the emitter current. You get the final equation for the base current here. Even you can substitute base current using this equation also. Okay, it's possible, but I showed you the just here itself we already have emitter current equation, collector current equation. So just substitute for this emitter and collector current, you get simplified equation for the base current that is flowing in the cutoff mode here. If the short circuit currents IES and ICS are small, okay, so this is the IES you can see here, ICS, these are short circuit currents if they are small, and alpha n and alpha I, if both are going to become unity, this total current becomes negligible. You can even see the emitter current if this is going to be smaller, this is small, and alpha I if it is tending to unity, so then definitely this IE becomes 0. Okay, IE becomes 0 because these currents are 0. And similarly, even here also you can see that in alpha n tends to unity, this also becomes 0. Even in this expression you can see that IE becomes 0. So that means what we are trying to say here is in the cutoff mode, this IES and ICS, they are very small, that can be neglected, and the current ratios in normal mode and inverted mode, they are tending towards unity. So these currents becomes negligible. So all these currents becomes negligible. So in the cutoff region, if you approximate in ideals, which we know that between the emitter and collector, there should be an open circuit here. That kind of a situation we are observing even from these equations also. The cutoff region regime will closely approximate the half condition of an ideal switch. Even in ideal switch also, when it is cut off, you don't expect any current. So same situation we are also seeing here from this equation here. So in the cutoff mode, since there is no emitter current, collector current and base current, so therefore the total current flowing in a transistor becomes 0. The current 0 indicates that there is a open circuit between emitter and the collector. This what about the ideal switch. Okay, so the next class we will discuss about the saturation conditions here. So we will see that how we can approximate the BJT under saturation condition. So saturation means it is emitter base junction is forward biased, this is emitter base junction is forward biased, and even collector junction also it is forward biased. Let us look at various currents flowing in this region of operation. Okay, any questions so far? Most probably the next class would be the last class for this module. We have covered almost all topics in this module. You can just have a look of syllabus. So you can, we have covered almost all topics, switching cycles, specifications, drift in the base region, base narrowing, avalanche breakdown, base resistance, and emitter crowding. Okay, all this has been covered here. Okay, and the corresponding videos has been uploaded in the YouTube, and you can also see the material related to this module has been uploaded in the Google Classroom. And if anything is missed out, you can just send an email or message to me. With that, next class we will be covering this switching cycle specifications. Though we have discussed cutoff region and switching operation of a transistor, next class will focus on saturation and the switching cycle. With that, we will wind up this module 3. Okay, so see you in the next class. Okay.